I love you guys.
Dance off, bro. I have the high ground.
Expecto Patronum!
39 days, 20 people, 1 survivor. Tribe of Nerds.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Tribe of Nerds. Cameron and I are here to talk about the premiere of Survivor 47. I think we're going to be trying to do a weekly recap, and it's going to be exciting to talk about a new season of Survivor. Yeah, welcome back, Cameron.
Thank you. I'm excited to get into a new season. We've hit the mat, so let's start running with a drone shot behind us.
Oh, it's so good. I love that drone shot. It's like, speaking of that, it's just so good. I think this premiere was better than the last few have been, and just the editing and the camera shots, like that one in particular, just helped solidify that for me.
Yeah, I also like the big opening set piece again, not just like a quick run into the ocean and run back. We have a full-on set piece challenge, get your head into the game right away, which is super exciting as always.
Absolutely. Yeah, I just feel like this is definitely the best premiere of the new era for me. And I like this cast for the most part. I mean, we're going to talk about the one big glaring exception to that cast. Obviously is a huge part of the downsides of it. But I mean, how did you feel about this cast going in?
I was very excited actually seeing all the cast pictures. I don't know why. Like the last couple have been really good upon first viewing. And I think we should have maybe with the longer episodes, I kind of expected to know everybody deeply by this point, but it's understandable. I've gone blurry. It's understandable why we saw what we saw, there's a lot to do in those first 3 days, even with it wasn't even a 2-hour premiere, which is what we normally get.
Right.
A great first start.
Yeah, this cast on first impression, I said it, it just really was a good cast. And immediately, I mean, I see there's all these podcasters that are on. I think this is the most we've ever had that profession on here. And so immediately I'm drawn to people. I'm immediately drawn to Jon Lovett and all the talk of him preseason, which just makes it so much more disappointing of how this premiere went. And because I was ready to pick Jon Lovett as my winner pick if he made it through this premiere, and then it just all of a sudden he's gone. And we'll talk about how it probably shouldn't have been, because Andy is crazy, and Andy literally, as soon as I see that, I'm like, okay, we've got our Brandon Donlin, our Jelinski of this season. That's just, or you could say Bonu as well, just this someone that's going to be the train wreck of the season, and this is their setup for their boot here. And then for some reason he stays, and I'm still not quite sure why he's still here.
It's probably a mix of prioritizing the wrong things, prioritizing tribe strength, but also knowing that he's going to fall apart before he makes a move on them, maybe, is what they were thinking. Jon Lovett, on first glance, seems like he's going to be a star on this, right? So they might have just been scared of that. And during the tribal, I know we're jumping to the tribal right away, but during the tribal, he literally says that it didn't seem like his tribe wanted to do any strategy. So the fact that he even wanted to could have just been oh, you're standing out as somebody who actually wants to play the game. We're not at that point because we want to make it to the merge and play quietly. It's a tribe of quiet players, and he stood out amongst the pack, I think, is what happened.
Yeah, sadly, I think you're right. And it's just unfortunate. I think also, immediately after the challenge, at the challenge, after it ends, when Andy has collapsed and he's having the panic attack, and then he immediately just calls out Jon as he's going to throw his friend Jon under the bus. And if I was Jon, I'd be so pissed. Wow.
It's we've never seen somebody crumble under the pressure that fast.
Mhm.
before. Like Banu crumbled emotionally, whereas like he Andy crumbled physically there because he was just in despair. He overthanked everything about this, you know? Like he probably wasn't even a target. We heard he wasn't a target. It was probably gonna be John regardless. But
Yeah.
I'm sure it just didn't help.
Yeah, and just like I don't know if it like all completely fell apart for John as soon as this happened and he just didn't handle it well back at camp. I mean, we did see immediately they get back to camp and like Annika is basically saying, "Oh yeah, we're gonna tell Andy your name." And that's not something you want to hear at all, that your name is being thrown out there. So like that is an immediate red flag for John that he is on the chopping block. And then he
Well,
immediately is gonna gun for Annika
I
instead
feel
of
like it
Andy.
goes to show, like in certain conversations we maybe didn't hear, that those four had already come to the consensus that
Yeah,
they were talking with Andy about John. So that makes the most sense to tell Andy is that it's John.
right.
So I just feel like that's what we saw because like they didn't consider it there. They already had their minds up. Like everyone was just letting Annika talk for them because they already had that discussion probably earlier in the day or earlier days that John would be the target.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I guess what are your thoughts on the rest of this Gata tribe? I mean, so we did our draft like off recording like about an hour before the premiere, even going into the premiere, like you, me, Kevin, and Sarah. And so I lost John for my team, and so the leftover two, I ended up picking up Kashan. But for my winner pick, I ended up picking Sam for my team. I just told Austin vote this and our Vanquish season 11 winner and just talked to him and I was like, first impressions of Sam remind me of Austin. Like I can definitely see that Sam and Austin are the same like kind of person, the sports person that's their kind of profession, sports broadcaster. And like I feel like that's the way Sam is going to play. He's going to play like an Austin type game as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say when it's hard to categorize what Austin's game was. It wasn't
Right.
so sporty as it was like, it was the re before, and then he was the vice president to D kind of thing.
Oh, I was talking about my friend Austin, but
Oh,
sorry. Yeah, no, Austin Lee Coon was a different story
I was
than
like trying to make the connection to my head. I was like, are they similar?
no, 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 no. Those two are Austin Lee Coon and Sam Phelan are completely different. But yeah, I get what you're saying with Austin Lee Coon though. But
Yeah.
um,
Anyways, sorry.
no, you're good. That was also my one of my previous winner picks actually too. But um, yeah. So I can see Sam doing well. Any other thoughts on Gata? Are we ready to hit one of the other two tribes that we haven't talked about too much?
I yeah, I'll give my thoughts on the Gata players. I feel like we didn't see a lot of Sierra past the
Yeah,
the opening mat. We talked about her pants, and then we kind of didn't hear any personal thoughts from her, which is unfortunate. But like she looks like she'd be fun to keep having on the cast. Sam, I feel like yeah, you've described him pretty well. I'll second that. I don't remember who the other person is on the tribe, and then there's Rachel, who I feel like was almost the narrator for the tribe. She brought us into the tribal council. It was kind of her narrative that we were
yeah,
following for that overall tribal, I'd say. Um,
yeah.
but I don't remember who the last player is on this.
Annika and then Andy.
Annika and Andy. Okay, so
Yeah,
yeah, we didn't see a lot of Annika. She was more just like getting shots because she was like a sub target for Andy. And then Andy is an interesting player. I feel like in all the seasons we've gotten, it makes sense that you'd get somebody who's just really overwhelmed with it all, especially
yeah,
feeling on the outs. The coconut thing was hilarious though. Like them just not
yeah,
paying it because like you wouldn't just clap, but like I guess it's a big thing for John because he's like physically weaker. So they're like, yeah, go John. But he was probably also drawing the attention when he did it. He probably walked over and was like, well, I'm gonna try and cut this coconut or something. But Andy's just doing it because that's what he thinks he should be doing to make the tribe like him, right? He's like, I'll cut coconuts and I'll do this and that.
Yeah, it comes off as a little bit delusional. Like, oh yeah, John's getting clapped for. Why am I not getting clapped? I don't know. It just feels a little self-entitled, and I was like, okay, Andy.
I kind of feel like this tribe lacks a big personality now. Like I feel like they undercompensated because they had John on the tribe, so they put more of the quiet people there. But now that he's gone, it's just gonna be weird and quiet there. I feel like it's not gonna have as much narrative now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what this tribe does next week. What other things Andy will cause to happen. But let's get into the other tribes. So then we have the Blue Tuku tribe, and the red tribe is what's the red tribe again?
Lavo.
Lavo. Yes, Lavo.
Just so they're not lava. Lavo.
Yes, yes, because of course we got to keep with, as Kevin has said repeatedly, the two-syllable, four-letter tribe names.
It's like they're allergic to trying something different in the new era, and I don't understand it because they started the new era saying that they're going to try new things, but it's all the same.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, these tribe names really don't mean anything, and that's why they're harder to remember too. It's like going back, like when the show first started, you have these tribe names that mean something for like the culture of like where they're at, or like, they mean like an animal or something. Like that's not the case anymore. Like I'm thinking back to like even Australian outback, Kucha is kangaroo, or Ogakor is crocodile. Like we
There's
don't
never
have
many
that.
ideas. Like I don't know who is the head of their creative team. I think that's what it is because the idols are beads on strings for the seventh season in a
Yeah.
row. And like the box thing is cool. Like they clearly put design thought into that, but then did the beads again. Like they used to be so cool looking. I don't know. But
Yeah.
it's the same with the three tribe dynamic and the names, and it's just get a little more creative, I think. That's all. Even
Yeah.
the colors. Where's like some pinks and purples and oh no, we've gotten purples, not purples.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the other tribes. Tuku, so the Blue Tuku tribe, that is Sue, TK, Gabe, who was a big focus of this episode with overplaying and finding idols. And then who are the other people on that tribe?
On the blue tribe, there's TK, there's
I can't remember because I didn't
Sue.
focus. Sue, yeah.
Pull up the tribes, Jake.
Yeah, let me pull up the tribe list while we're on here. Um, all right, perfect. Caroline and Kyle and Tiana. And yeah, so I mean let's talk about Gabe here because again, he is this big focus of this episode, and the twist with the idol is that you have this box like you had in 46, but that once you open it, you have the idol that's good for only one tribal. And if you put the beaded idol back in and you do another task to get another key, you can get it to extend to three tribal councils. I think this is interesting to like put a timer on it. I think it definitely makes it more interesting. But I don't know. It's like it's still a bit odd. It definitely still feels like the same kind of stuff that we've been doing for the entire new era as well. So it doesn't feel that different from what we've seen already with like these beware advantages and beware idols.
I also feel that we're 7 seasons deep in this, and if you're not going to change the three tribe dynamic, the beware advantages aren't helping that because you're taking so many votes away. We're doing like pre-merge votes where it feels like we're in the final five, and that's not entertaining. The whole point of the pre-merge is to have those bigger votes. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
now somebody in the episode said like you only need two people that you're aligned with, but it used to be harder to convince like a group of 9 other individuals to vote a certain way. It, uh, and the beware advantage taking votes away is not entertaining anymore because now you just have people needlessly lying and decepting people not based on what they're doing, but based on Beware Advantage conspiracy. You know, you can just assume that there's not going to be all the votes at every tribal council because somebody would have got the Beware Advantage by now. Um,
Yeah.
but I do like how this Beware Advantage is set up. I
Yes.
like that, you can get it to a full idol, but you can do it all at once if you're good enough.
Yes.
Um, I think it's easy to hack because if you just opened it the first time, then found the next key, if you just never went back to the box, you never have to lose your vote again. And then you can just open the box when you do lose, and then it's good for those
Right.
next three tribal councils. So you basically have a full idol until you open the box, which is
Yeah.
good. You can just take the box with you and just say, "This is my idol," kind of thing. It's in here. I can open it whenever I have the key, which I think is interesting, but they didn't do. But it's fun.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm interested what Gabe is going to do moving forward. He seems like he wants to work with Sue. And then it seems like he kind of wants to work with the other women on the tribe as well. It seems from the clip we got, I guess, for going into next week, that he's trying to talk to Caroline, and it seems like she does not want to work with Gabe at all, which is funny. And I actually agree with her because Gabe is trying way too hard to play here.
I feel like in these smaller groups, you do feel more on the outs these early days. If you like, he definitely probably feels that he's on the outs. You know what I mean? Especially after dropping a box down the side of a cliff while he's the only one not at camp, which is so funny. I
Yeah,
also believe in like the preseason interviews, like some people already had like a bad vibes from this guy with curly hair they were talking about, which I'm pretty sure is Gabe. Uh,
yeah,
so he probably already had those like first ideas about him on the
yeah.
first impression. But I like the Blue Tribe. I think they're a little strong, so I feel like they're going to be winning a lot of challenges. I think they gave them stronger players because they have the older lady on their tribe with Sue, but she's
Yeah.
not weak. She's like the buffest old lady I've ever seen.
She literally
Not even
carried the
old.
box on her shoulders like Wonder Woman. They literally said it, and I was just like, yeah, this lady is strong.
I'm really hoping for a swap though. Like, why are we not getting swaps to mix things up before the merge comes?
Because
Let's
they
let's hope
want
we get to drop your buffs and switch things up sooner rather than later.
I would love them to switch back to two tribes at a certain point, like after like four tribal councils or whatever, but they're probably not going to do that. But yeah, and then you have TK, who again, we have TK and Asia from Lavo going on the little journey, which ends
Right.
up being a little challenge there. That was a fun challenge at least. It was interesting to get these two squaring off. Like you have this big guy in TK, and then you have this Asia who's smaller, and she is like a podcaster. So it's just very, very interesting, like two very different people going in the head to head in this type of challenge.
Can
So
the super fan beat the athlete, you know?
yeah, yeah, exactly.
It
So
it would have been so funny if she did get it from TK there and he was just walking around it for the last 5 minutes, cannot find
right.
it. I
Yeah.
love those drone shots that we get now with like
Yes.
you can really get in there for the action. So I hope we see more of that.
Yeah, I do too. Anything else from the Blue Tribe? I mean, I kind of like Caroline. I feel like she's going to be a really strategic player, but we didn't see too much of her other than I think she talked to one of the other I think she talked to Sue, and then she I think she talked to Tiana as well, so I think she talked to the other women to try to get something going. Um, and then we didn't see too much of Kyle either. I mean I know like I watched like the pregame videos as well. So like I kind of know a little bit more about him from that, but on the show in this premiere he didn't get too much.
Just because I watched the preseason stuff as well is why I like Kyle a lot.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
since I know what he does for a living, I mean, they showed it in the episode that he
Yeah,
does
they do.
derby stuff. But like when they were diving through that mud, like everyone else was putting their buffs over their face, he just did not care. It's like it didn't even touch his face. He's dripping in mud, but it's like it didn't mean anything to him. So I kind of hope we see more like down and dirty Kyle, and he's just like playing these challenges without like his body is a second thought kind of thing. Another kind of JT type. My like the challenge is more important than like how I come out of it,
Right.
is
I
what
saw
I think he's gonna give us.
yeah. Yeah. I saw some people online saying Kyle was basically this the new era version of Ian Rosenberger from Palau. And like I can totally see that. They definitely look
A
similar.
lanky, dirty, like greasy haired, yeah, white guy. He's
Yeah.
like those. I love Ian, and I think
Yes.
I'm gonna like Kyle. I hope he stays in the game for quite a bit of time.
Yeah, and if Ian made it as far as he did in Palau, like I could totally see Kyle doing the same thing. So just as long as he doesn't give up his spot in the final challenge.
I will say, like TK, Kyle, and Sue all kind of gave us that winner speech in this episode. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I'm gonna win Survivor is things they said because of this, you know?
they did
So
say that. Yeah,
I am gonna
yeah.
keep my eye on those three specifically, especially since I think the Blue Tribe aren't gonna lose a lot of tribal councils on their way.
Yeah, and Tiana seems like a bright, shining star based on her pregame video as well. So like I think she's gonna be a lot of fun. All right, and then we get to Lavo, and we have Teeny, we have Rome, we have Asia, we have Solomon, who looks like a built like a Mack truck. I mean, he looks like
Yeah,
James.
he's like a rhino, I swear to God.
Like, yeah, it's crazy how big that man is. And then you have who are the other couple people? And then
I'm so
Genevieve.
distracted by Soul's build that you forgot the last member of the tribe.
Genevieve and Kashawn. Yeah. So, and Genevieve didn't get much. Kashawn, I like. I mean, I just picked up Kashawn on my team. He's an ER doctor. Seems like he'll be kind of a little quiet, but just like the really nice, quiet guy. And yeah, I mean, and then Teeny's a big player. Clearly she went to Asia and gave her all this information, being like, I want to work with you, and I'm just gonna let you know that Rome is like throwing your name out and Rome is going
Oh,
crazy. I picked up a crazy person myself in Rome, and I was
I
like,
also have Rome on a draft. He's my number one pick for like the draft I do with my friends every year. And I won
mhm,
last season with my number one pick, Kenzie. So Rome had
yeah,
a lot on his shoulders here. And I liked his gameplay for the first half of the episode, like not digging up the box and leaving it on the trail. Like
yeah,
I thought his narrative was good. And then the second half of the episode, the way his tribe's talking about him, the cuts of him we're getting, I'm like, oh no.
yeah.
Oh, what are you doing?
He's
But
going
like
head first into the tribe's well.
no, I know. I was like I vocally was like, "Oh no, don't." And then going the other way when your tribe is showing up is just not a good idea. Like even if you're drenched, just be like, "I was like overheating and I just needed like to do that." And like I know it's our drinking water, but we'll boil like I don't know. But I think overall the red tribe is awesome. I would love to be on that tribe if I was on 47 because I think they're just going to be happy go lucky people. They're going to support each other and it's not going to be like cutthroat, I feel. You know what I mean? Like it seemed cold what they did to John. I feel like it would be more like loving at the Red Tribe. They'd all hug
Yeah.
after voting somebody out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, wrap everybody in Solomon's big arm.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. It's like Kevin out there. Beefy Johnny Salami Kevin. Um,
All right. Yeah. And so, anything else to say on the dynamics going on in this premiere? I mean, I think we've touched on basically everything, including Andy's meltdown and stuff. So, I mean, um,
Yeah. I thought some of the editing was interesting. Like there's a moment in the immunity challenge when the red tribe shows up at their puzzle and it cuts back to the other groups like pushing their boat on the shore and it cuts back to red and they just put the last piece into their puzzle so it looks like they did it in 8 seconds,
yeah,
which is like kind of funny. Like I feel like you can space it out more. Like you have these longer episodes now. I feel like your pacing can get there, you know, where you kind of have everything. Or even like you have these drones now, you can pull away. Like even if we see the cameras, I don't think that's big of a deal. Like I know they're hiding in the woods,
mhm,
but overall, like great first episode. Love the cast. There's nobody who I'm immediately like, like even with Andy, I understand it, you know? Like
mhm.
of course somebody can feel like that. but it's like, dude, get up. Like you don't need medical. You're having a meltdown, you know?
I love you, Jeff.
I love you, Jeff. I love when Jeff went over and he's just like, "Are you okay?" And he's just like, "I gave it my all, Jeff." And he's just like, "Okay, great. Yeah, no, keep going." You know?
Oh my God. It was just laughable, and like talking with a couple other people and we're joking about that too. It's so funny.
I
Um
gave it my all, Jeff. It's just like, okay, great. I'm gonna medical help him. We don't need to stop.
well, I mean, in terms of first boots, I think Jon Lovett is up there as one of the best, most robbed first boots in Survivor history. I mean, I would say probably out of all new player first boots that we've had in this show's history. I mean, I would say Zayn, of course, Francesca, um, let's see, Chicken. I mean, Jon Lovett is up there with those people.
I love that he said he wanted to go out like voting instead of just using a shot in the dark. Because if you
Yes.
go on Survivor, you want to at least vote once if you think you're gonna go. And poor Zach, who went in 42, didn't even
Yes.
get that opportunity. But he also broke a record being the person voted out with like no other votes. Anyways, but yeah, I think 47 seasons deep, we have some iconic first boots, and it would be a shame not to bring like an excuse to bring somebody like Jon Lovett back is to just have a first boot season. I guarantee you can get 18 to 20 people who definitely want to give it their shot again, and it would be interesting because we've never seen these people play more than the first episode.
Yeah, first 3 days. Yeah. Give me Peter Harkey talking about his holes again. Like
No, yeah, like I could make you a perfect cast list. I guarantee you we have like a perfect even split between women and men.
yeah, I mean, and yeah, there's some women, I think. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Marisa from the season that Russell was on, like she literally got voted out first because she opposed Russell. Like,
You got to bring
uh,
Francesca back for a third time.
bring Wendy Joe back so she can talk about her blisters.
Wendy Joe.
She was
Another
Nicaragua.
season she might have been fine, but like,
I feel
but see,
bad.
so many unfortunate things can happen with the first boot. You can lose
Yeah,
someone so great, and like, I feel like Andy's got to do some great stuff before he just gets worse, you know?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. As we go forward, we can keep track of like who else went out in the spot as these players and kind of talk about the greats. I feel like that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, no,
So,
chicken.
yeah. Yeah, damn. Yeah, and I guess aside from Francesca, we're not gonna count like the other attorney first boots because that's a completely different story. Like, I'm not gonna count Johnny
I'd count them.
Fairplay.
Bring Vetus back.
Oh yeah, Vetus. Yeah, 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 yeah.
I'd say they count. Who went out first in winners at Natalie?
I mean, I guess but she did come back and finish second, so it would technically be Amber, I would guess. Um, let's see,
Amba.
and who?
Amba.
Amba. Yeah, 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 Amba. Um, Tina Wesson, Sugar. Yeah,
See, it's an excuse to get back some iconic players, but I guess you would want to give it to the people who never actually got to get further than 3 days in.
right. And yeah, and Johnny Fairplay. Yeah, I mean, so
Oh, Johnny
much.
Fairplay.
Yes,
Who's
yes.
that guy?
Yeah, we have more reasons to stan him now. Um, let's see. Yeah, I mean that's it's gonna be exciting moving forward. So next week we'll do episode 2 and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully I don't.
Let's at the end of this. So right now, let's just pick a winner pick who we think's gonna win from now, and then we'll see how
Oh,
it
okay. I mean I'm gonna stick with Sam. I'm gonna stick with Sam Phelan and see how it goes. And I mean we'll see how the rest of the season goes for our draft picks. And whoever loses another player out of the four of us will pick up Sue. So
Yeah. I'll pick Rome for now, just because I think it'd be interesting if he does like. I don't think he's done anything to really make him that big of a target. I think he can swerve that target out of the way.
yeah, and we've literally seen people explode in the first episode, aside, I don't think Andy has any chance, but like we've seen people like George do really poorly early on and then like make it all the way to the end and dominate. Like so it's very possible that Rome could recover and be a big
Well,
player.
Andy more or less like he while painting a target on himself, he's taking one off of himself because he's like a second thought now. It's like you can kind of take him out at any time. So they're gonna clearly target the gamers. So if he just keeps acting out, he'll probably be fine. At
Yeah,
least with
I
the yellow tribe.
that's probably true to be honest.
I'm
So
excited to see the reactions of the other tribes when they walk in and Jon Lovett's gone.
that's gonna be crazy. Yeah. I'm trying to think in the new era, has there been like any huge reactions? Because we used to get those all the time in old seasons, and it was so fantastic to
I
see
feel
some
like we
reactions.
have. I don't know how many of them are genuine, you know, like I feel like people just
Yeah,
react now because they want that camera to pan to them a little bit.
yeah,
But like you used to get it where they actually cared and like you had those like since it was two tribes, you could kind of cross more and talk a little bit. So I don't
yeah,
know. I definitely think there has. I can't remember them right now, but it's something I'm gonna look into now.
yeah. I can't remember like a massive reaction either. So I don't know. I mean, I remember them from pre-new era, but not the new era.
But you've also seen all those seasons more than once.
Well, that's true. And I mean, I'm trying to even remember the international ones, speaking of that. But anyway, yeah,
Anyway,
we will finish this and we will see what happens next week, Cam, and maybe Kevin and Sarah will join us on the next one, but we'll have to see as we go. Um, but yeah, we will
yeah.
see you all next time on the Tribe of Nerds.